The National New York Central Railroad Museum is a museum in Elkhart, Indiana, dedicated to the New York Central Railroad. This was my 5th attempt to come here. It's on Freight Street. That's pretty funny. One of the best parts about this museum is the Norfolk Southern Main Line runs right by it. There is a virtual railfan live camera located at this museum. Now into the gift shop area, where they had lots of posters. There was a New York Central Hudson, the same E8 that's displayed outside, a Baltimore and Ohio EM1, as well as many other things. The chandelier has Commodore Vanderbilt in it. Look how dedicated these people are. There was a G-gauge model railroad up here, but only one train operated. These FAs don't. Hey look, it's Bachman NYC 221. I own one of these. Here is the operating train, a very small Bo diesel. A nice drawing of some New York Central motive power. This portrait of NYC 3001 carved in 2010. A model of a very early American 040. A New York Central Yards control panel. An original 1800 set of Lincoln pin couplers. An O-gauge model of Richard Trevithick's locomotive. And a not working, of course, not real, New York Central 134. A diorama with 2 Penn Central engines in it. On the wall, there was a photo of the New York Central, Pennsylvania Railroad, and Penn Central heritage units at the museum back in 2010. A photo of the 2012 gathering of Norfolk Southern's heritage units. A locomotive bell. Elkhart Passenger Depot circa 1905. A bunch more of those really cool plates with locomotives on them. A set of New York Central FAs in a drawing, which used to hang in the New York Central offices in LaSalle Street Station in Chicago. A similar drawing of the New York Central 4085, which is displayed outside. Some chairs from a New York Central engine, and a light. O-gauge model of Stephenson's rocket. The inside of 3001's cab. And a builder's plate of a Fairbanks Morse engine. A set of New York Central passenger cars in O-gauge.
Like the South Shore, but they're just
Also O-gauge, a set of Southern Pacific passenger cars. PR H10 consolidation. Florida East Coast set of passenger cars. New York Central T-Motor 224 in service. New York Central Hudson 5344 Commodore Vanderbilt. The emergency exit. An exhibit where you could put in railroad spikes into this track. A picture I took to make my brother believe me that railroad workers are called Gandy dancers. A not real replica of a small saddle tank engine for kids to play on. Here's the inside of the cab with working whistle and bell. And part of the caboose, which is behind the engine. A portrait of New York Central 5344 before it was streamlined. I'm pretty sure this is a real coach. Union Pacific 3951, of course a Challenger. You can hear the bell from that fictional train ringing as we take a look at this patriotic O-gauge train set from Lionel. An O-gauge Pacific. a large G-scale Hudson. I swear 90% of the walls in this museum were covered with O-gauge trains. They had everything from GG1s to F units to the S2 turbine. There was this set of FAs, even more F units. Geez, they had everything. New York Central FAs in the most unimaginative livery possible. New York Central Jeep. Small, unrealistic New York Central 040 saddle tank. A tiny General Electric Amtrak switcher, also not real. Another Lionel GG1. An 040. Fictional livery, Pennsylvania Railroad EP5. New Haven SW1-7. I don't know how to tell them apart. Another Jeep in the most boring livery possible. This Jeep, high hood, with the Lionel train history pack. A unstreamlined Class J. A Santa Fe 210-4. Awesome looking. They had this replica of the valve gear of their 3001 Mohawk. This is awesome. This live steam model of a 2715 Baby Mohawk. Of course, it's just called the Baby Mohawk because it's tiny. Here's some information on it. Here's the cab. Very nice live steam locomotive. A Penzi K4 made out of toothpicks. Seriously, this thing took 7 years to build. A New York Central F unit. Some info on that locomotive. See, it took 7 years to build. That's ridiculous! A 1992 Special Edition Lionel Railroader Club diesel. A crap ton of suburban trams, also by Lionel. This display showing different track gauges. An old Lionel 242 based on the Hudson. Another EMD New York Central. I don't know how to tell the EMD switches apart. I wish I could say these actually existed, but they don't. I love FAs. Also, that tanker right there, I own one. Please, cabooses, come back! Even the bathroom had New York Central motive power displayed right outside. Oh, and there's this display case with some more cabooses, a CN Mac and a PR Camelback. And this one with New York Central 999, but definitely not the one you're thinking of. Nibsco Switcher. Yeah, it confused me too. And this old 440. This display case had a lot of engines. There was these Santa Fe F units, Pennsylvania Railroad E6 460, New York Central E unit, not the one that's displayed outside, CNJ, Blue Comet engine, of course, lovely livery. Nickel Plate Road 765. Okay. A New York Central T-motor, which is actually the exact same model as the one pictured here, which I saw at the Middlebury train show back in February. C&O Greenbrier 614, the unluckiest train in the world. And a quite rare Pittsburgh and Lake Erie Green Berkshire. Of course there's a Niagara. Why wouldn't there be a Niagara? It's the New York Central Museum.
Definitely not.
I was very shocked to see this Erie triplex. There was also this New York Central Hudson. A Cleveland Union Terminal T-motor. Another NYC Hudson, this time with the Dreyfus streamlining. Yet another NYC Hudson. Man, I wish one of these things was preserved, please. Why? A Mohawk. Alfred E. Perlman, why did you scrap all of the Hudsons? I'm screaming at you right now. Yeah, we don't talk about this shot. A lot more cabooses. Please come back. 2 B&O/chassis system Jeeps. They're identical. Yeah, this wall had a lot of trains. I wasn't going to waste my time taking a picture of every single one, so you can pause the video and look at them if you want. An Erie Pacific with a really long firebox. The Commodore Vanderbilt. 4 New York Central 999s, 2 of them in post-rebuilt condition and 2 of them in pre-rebuilt condition. C&O BL12, criminally underrated locomotive. A New York Central Alco. Now, some shots of the actual train layout. There is this New York Central engine shop with this consolidation, USRA 2880, and this other steam engine. Here is the control panel where all the trains for the railway are operated. We'll see them operate later. This wall has all the trains that actually work. Finally, the main exhibits outside. New York Central Elkhart River coach. And this coach, Joseph River. As I said, this line is right next to the NS main line. Here we see a local freight pulled by a Norfolk Southern GP 38-2. The 2 engines displayed outside that were New York Central were this E unit, and of course, the New York Central Mohawk 3001. One of the workers at the museum graciously let me and my family get inside the cab of 3001, something you're not actually supposed to do.
With names that would be timeless, they were built sleek and fast, streamlined for the future and fueled by the past. They were tall as iron giants, cloaked in their steel shrouds, like chariots from the future, arriving on misty clouds. New York Central, rail and machine, fire, smoke and steam. New York Central, ghosts of the rails. From New York to Chicago, traveling along the rails, you could smell the history in the air with each breath that you'd inhale. Like a noble knight of olden days with his armor and his shield, and 400,000 pounds of iron, chrome, and steel.
Soon enough, we are making our way down the long line of rolling stock. Of course, looking back to take this shot of 3001. Here is 3001's cab with the L3A lettering underneath it. And of course, walking down the locomotive. 3001 is one of only 2 surviving Mohawks, and one of only 2 surviving large New York Central steam engines. The rest of them were unfortunately scrapped by the wrath of Alfred E. Perlman back in the 1950s. The next train that just so happened to roll by was the first time I've ever seen a CN train on NS trackage. This one had 2 modern GEVOs at the front and was carrying rails. My normal shot of 3001.
Bask in the glory of the glorious New York Central 3001.
the end of the rails train. Man, this cylinder needs some repair work.
Fire, smoke, and steam. New York Central, ghosts of the rails. New York Central, rail and machine. Fire, smoke, and steam. New York Central, ghosts of...
You could climb inside the cab of 4085. Here we can see 3001 and 4882 from the view of inside the cab. Again, more of inside the cab, and also the fact I could blow the horn. I didn't actually do it because I didn't wanna. The roof of 4085. Across the tracks were the Elkhart passenger terminal. Looks a lot like the LaPorte Depot. Here was a Conrail caboose named Skelectric Wrecker. These two Milwaukee Road refrigerator cars. This old NYC tender, which was used on the American Freedom train. This stainless steel coach. A grain car. I don't know why this Conrail baggage car exists at all, unless it's from their executive train, but that was all painted black, so I don't understand why it exists. Someone explain. Two cabooses. Please, please, please come back. This New York Central / Penn Central boxcar. I don't know what this is, but that blue is nice. Some more New York Central cabooses in that strange but kind of cool at the same time livery. A New York Central crane. This thing was extremely cool. I mean, come on. It's a crane. Another baggage car. The front of said crane. A very rusty South Shore electric multiple unit needs some restoration. More shots of the New York Central crane. The boxcar had the Elkhart City emblem painted on the other side. Yeah, there was another crane. This one is in a lot bad of shape, though. A blue boxcar. You can see all three locomotives owned by the museum in this shot. There's also this small train based on 4085 that's planned to be run. As you can see, work was being done, and logs were propped up onto GG1 number 4882, which just so happens to be a model that I own. I brought this model along for the trip, so I could take this photo shoot of it in front of its real basis.
167 times smaller.
That's why you wanted to come.
After that epic shoot, we went back into the model train show and saw the number plate of New York Central Niagara 6012. And then we went to film the trains. First with these NYC E units, then this Conrail-9. There were some Santa Fe PAs as well. Oh, and here are the E units, they've come back. Now we followed the E units for a bit along the layout. Now we chase this Penn Central Jeep. Here we can see a basic shot of the layout with the static camera angle, showing just how frequent trains are. Here we can see the PAs rounding the bend. And then passing this consolidation. This track is all Lionel 3-rail O-scale O-gauge. Here we can follow the Conrail train for a bit along the layout. And now we follow the PAs for their complete cycle around the displayed layout.
How many have we got?
Now we catch those very same PAs and the New York Central E units heading around this curve. Yep, that's definitely Florida. Now we follow this Penn Central Jeep for a while. And then follow the Conrail-9 around the entire left side of the layout.
It's just a nervous look. I like the line, like the trusses.
Here we can see some New York Central history. Here's the 4085's history, starting out as New York Central before eventually becoming property of Penn Central and being renumbered, and then being sent to New Jersey Transit and working for a few years. Then it ended up at the museum, still in New Jersey Transit in 1988, and then repainted back into New York Central colors. Here's the inside of that New York Central coach that greets everyone when they come into the museum, decorated for Easter. Here's the New York Central Railroad Museum sign from inside the coach. And the exterior of the coach. They had to get this one because it says City of Elkhart on it. This caboose, it's pretty cool. I really wish railroads would bring back cabooses. Also, you can go inside of this one, and that's pretty cool. Here's our car from inside the caboose. A paper showing just how important cabooses are. More of the inside of the caboose. Outside of the windows of the top caboose. They removed the ladder, so I couldn't climb up there. But here's what the surrounding area looks like from one of the smaller windows. And the exterior of the caboose. There was a coin machine, and I got these really awesome coins printed out of it. Here's the actual building from the view of the car as we left. And here's the GG1 riding on the way home. I hope you enjoyed this documentary, and I'd really like to see you back next time for more amazing train content. See you next time.